Hey guys, it's Emily. I'm here with Olivia at Cottonwood Title, and we're going to talk to you today about title insurance and title companies in the real estate transaction. So Utah does not require you to use a lawyer in a real estate transaction. You get to use title companies. So Olivia, what is a title company? What do you do? And what is a title policy?
Okay, so that's a great question. A title company is, or they should be, an ally to the agents, to the buyers, the sellers, to all the parties involved, the lenders. It's basically to protect one of the biggest investments that you're going to do in your lifetime, at least for most people. We want to make sure that, the risks are eliminated, you're taken care of, and that this new home that you are moving into is amazing for however long you have it.
What will the title policy cover?
So the title policy is going to cover your title insurance from when you buy the home to when you sell the home. Even if you own the home from, the 30 years that you took a loan out on it, if you took a loan, it's going to cover you for the lifetime that you own the home, even if you don't have a loan on it anymore. So it's always important, if you have like a claim or something come against you, say that you bought a home, it's been remodeled, it's beautiful, a contractor comes back and say they weren't paid, the title insurance is going to protect you from that, since that wasn't your due, it was the seller's. Things like that is just, you never know, especially in the real estate world, you never know, and it's just important to keep your biggest asset in life safe.
So you, on your end, before you issue a title policy, you search the title.
Yes.
But sometimes things still aren't found.
Yes, if it's not recorded, or if it is recorded after you purchase the home, things like that can pop up.
Okay. What is the cost of a title policy?
So that one is a really good question. That is actually a varied question. There's multiple outcomes. If you buy, sell, refinance, the title fees are always going to be pretty much standard, which is going to be your settlement, like if you have lender fees involved. The premium is what is important, and I encourage everyone that I come across to please shop around. Different title companies have different underwriters. Cottonwood Title is lucky enough that we have multiple underwriters, which is a benefit to myself and to the clients, because then I can look and see who has the lowest and best fitting premium, the best policy, and
you can kind of shop around inside Cottonwood for the best policy. So what's a range? Obviously it depends on a lot of factors, but what do you kind of see as an average amount?
So for the market today, shoot me a number. What's an average purchase price? 500?
500, yeah.
Okay. So if you were buying a home for 500, then you would be getting a lender's policy. And that one's a little more expensive, typically, and of course it depends on the underwriter, it depends on who you're going with, but we can see that in around the 2,000s for the lender's policy. If you're going to be selling a home for $500,000, that is going to be the owner's policy, and that is what you're buying for the new owner of the home that you're selling. And that's a little bit cheaper, probably in the $1,500 to $1,800 range.
Do you have to buy a new title policy when you refinance a loan?
So no, you don't have to buy a new title policy, but you will have a new lender's policy.
Okay. On your end, what goes into getting ready for a closing on a buying side for a new home?
Okay, so for a closing on a purchase, what's going to go into it is I'm going to have a lot of communication with your agents, with your lender. I need to balance the lender's CD just to make sure that all the fees are accounted for, nothing's being charged that can't be charged for, and that basically what the buyer and the lender agree upon is disclosed in the closing disclosure. I'm going to balance with those numbers. The lender's going to give me all of their documents, which if you've done a closing, it could either be a huge stack, or if you do a hybrid, it's kind of like a little one. Regardless, your wrist is going to hurt. We're going to do that closing. We're going to go through all the papers. I'm going to kind of explain it. If you guys have any questions, you just ask them. And then that's the hard part for you guys. The rest comes all back into my court.
So on the seller side, what's the difference in the paperwork that they sign? Obviously, you don't have loan documents.
Right.
What types of things do they have to sign when they sell a home?
So when you sell a home, you will still need a closing disclosure. You will need a settlement statement, any tax documents, of course. I think the biggest document that we have, aside from the closing disclosure and your tax forms, of course, is what we call our escrow instructions, and that's going to tell me how your sellers want to receive their money. That's the funnest form, in my opinion.
The most important part today, right? So once papers are signed, how does ownership get transferred in Utah?
So to transfer in Utah, if you are on the buying side and we just signed all of your paperwork, what's going to happen next is I'm going to submit that paperwork back to the lender's closer or funder. They can go by either title. They're going to review everything to make sure that I was diligent, made sure everything was signed, dated exactly how it had to be, that it's in compliance. And then once I have authorization from the lender, they are then going to send me the funding money. I will send it to the seller's title, unless you're with me as well. Then we'll fund on that side. We have to fund the sellers before we can record. So I'll send the money to the sellers wherever they may be, the seller's title. They'll record what is called the warranty deed, and then that technically transfers title. That is now in the buyer's name. And then it will come back to me where I will I will record the deed of trust. And what that does is it's still showing that it's in the buyer's name, but just that they have a loan on the property.
So once they've signed or recorded the warranty deed, you've recorded yours.
Yes.
Then it's official on both sides.
So once it's recorded, I reach out to your agents and I let them know that, hey, this has been taken care of. Since you've gotten your people to the finish line, would you like to let them know? At that point, it's up to the agents, usually they'll reach out to the buyer and say, hey, great news, your keys are available, I have it, it's in your name. If not, you might hear from me just if I don't hear back from the agents for a while, just because I want people to know. But typically once that's recorded, that's it. You're a homeowner.
We like to let our buyers know because that's the exciting part. But it does depend on what's in your contract. If you get your keys upon recording, you would get your keys then. Sometimes, depending on the sellers needing to move out or any other circumstances on their end, sometimes you have to wait. But for the most part, most people do upon recording. Do you see that on your end?
Yeah, that's more popular. I will see the occasional 72 hours just to allow someone to move out. And I think that's for me why I like to reach out to the agents first, because I do read the contract, but I'm not on top of it as you guys are. Yeah. And I think it's also fun because, like I said, you got them to this hard part of searching for homes, getting under contract. I got to do the easy stuff and just kind of jump in at the end and have all the excitement. And so, yeah. So I like to let you guys know you have a lot more knowledge than I do, and you did the heavy lifting. So
we did more of the face-to-face stuff, but you're very much a part of the team on the transaction, just on the back end. They don't usually get to see your face until closing, but you are very much a huge part of it.
Thank you.
We talked about buyers closing, they get their keys. What does it look like on the seller's end for recording?
So on the seller's end, this one is a lot quicker and it's a lot funner. Okay, I shouldn't say quicker because it does depend on the lender's wire. But what happens is once the buyer on your sell side signs, they'll get the money from their lender. They'll send it to myself. I'll record the warranty deed, and then I get to send you your money. And that is one of my favorite parts. I can do a wire, check, things like that. Still, I'm going to let your agent know just that they can tell you that it's been recorded. But a lot of people get the hint once their account gets that little ding and they get money in it.
Big bonus. Most of the time it goes right back into another house, though.
That's true. Yeah.
Not many people get to walk away with hundreds of thousands of dollars, even though we all wish we could.
Wish we could. But honestly, it's a great investment to put it right back into your new home.
Do you have many times where people are very unhappy, or is it pretty much an exciting time at the closing table?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely some unhappy stories, especially from this great little pandemic that we just had. We have some horror stories for sure, mostly with builders. No hate towards any builders. It was a hard time for sure, but it's getting a lot better. Seeing a lot more happy people. Things are finally getting wrapped up and put together.
I think a lot of it was out of a lot of people's control, which is rough. Nobody likes to feel out of control in every aspect of their life for years. But it's nice. You're finally seeing things level out. Do you guys get to do, how long did you have to do Zoom signings for COVID?
Oh my gosh. So we didn't do Zoom signings, but we had to do a lot of we had big plexiglass on our tables. We would offer curbside. We even had things where we could drop a package off and Of course, we couldn't do like jurat acknowledgments or things like that where we had to actually witness a signature, but it was a mess.
You were a grocery store, big
mess.
plexiglass in front of your faces.
And especially for like the bigger closings where it's like, we tried to limit it, of course, to keep everything safe and how it needed to be with the CDC. But it would be insane where like the builder's agent would show up, the outside agent would show up, the lender, 2 signers, us. It was very interesting to all keep 6 feet apart, and everyone has a mask on. It was, yeah.
You're not missing those days, right?
I'm sure not. We still want to keep safe. Please don't get that wrong, but it's a lot nicer to take our guard down a little bit.
A little bit more back to normal.
Yeah, those weird times for sure.
Yes. Okay, in closing, do you have any other advice for people when they are choosing a title company?
So my best advice, obviously people want to work with you. Everyone's going to do everything that they can to get a deal right. In the end, we're all salespeople. But I will always 100% believe, shop around, pick who works best for you, who works personality-wise, who can get you the best deal, and who's going to treat you like you are the number one important thing going on. Because you are. This is a huge investment that you are doing for yourself and for your family. And so just always put you and your needs first. You will get a lot of recommendations of who people would want you to use. But shop around. Just, customer service is important.
Cheapest isn't always the best.
It's not always the best, but if you find the right people who are willing to work with you, they can and they will get you deals and treat you as important as you are. So that's my advice. Just always keep your word.
Olivia. She does a great job. She always takes such good care of us and our clients. Well, if you guys have any other questions or want to know anything else about title, let us know in the comments and we will come back and see Olivia again.
Thanks for having me.